and welcome back, you merry people. Today we're going to look at 5 tips, and actually I'll throw in a bonus tip at the end if you can manage to stay watching for that long. 5 tips for beginner motorcycle riders, basically. So if you are thinking of buying your bike, it's the start of the season, as it were, the sun's coming out, sunshine, spring, all those sorts of things, the sort of thing that gets the petrol pumping down below, if you know what I mean. So if you are one of those people, and perhaps you're new to riding, either completely new, just starting out, or whether this is going to be the beginning of your first season, or maybe you're returning, here are 5 tips for you. Before we settle into the 5 tips, if you could like and indeed subscribe to the page. We're aiming for 2,000 subscribers, so if you could whip out your finger, gentlemen, please, and just pop it on that little clicking thing that offers you the opportunity to subscribe. That's the red button if you're watching it in little screen, or if you have full screenized yourself, then there's a button sort of bottom right somewhere here, which is the Fozbox icon, and that will do exactly the same thing. So like and subscribe, and then you can appreciate the 5 tips. Now, number 1, ride regularly. So if you've just passed your test, you may not even have a bike yet. What I advise you to do is get one soon, because if you've passed your test recently, you need to keep up those skills. You need to practice the skills that you learnt during testing. And so you need to ride regularly, especially to start with. It's no surprise that most accidents happen to new riders, but also to returning riders. So perhaps you were a big hog rider back in the day, and now you're coming back to it at age 60 or whatever it is, or in your 50s, and there's a large percentage of accidents for those people, because although they used to be great, they've lost some of the skills that they had when they were younger. It's not about age, it's not about not being able to do it because you're old, it's about not being able to do it because you're out of practice. So if you have just passed your test, you're a new rider, ride regularly to just build up the skills, build up the experience, and that sort of thing. Number 2, if you have just passed your test, you're about to buy your bike, your first bike, don't buy your dream bike. Yes, you have been watching MotoGP all your life, and your dream bike is a Ducati Panigale or whatever it is, or perhaps you want to go Triumph, you want the Rocket 3 because it's the most powerful bike in the world. Whatever your dream bike is, whatever it is that you've been salivating over, whatever it is that's got you up in the morning, and I mean really up in the morning, then don't buy it. Not as your first bike. It's a mistake, because of 2 reasons. 1, you're most likely to have an accident when you're a new rider, and if you have an accident and you crush your new bike, you have crushed your dreams, and you've probably also crushed something very expensive. Hold off. Learn the ways of the world. If you're buying your first car, you don't buy a Ferrari. The problem is bikes are really cheap. I mean, actual bikes are really cheap to buy compared to cars, and we'll talk about price in a moment. And so the temptation and the opportunity is there to buy a bike that you're simply not ready for. Don't do it. Don't get a Kawasaki Ninja H2 or whatever it is, because it's too much bike for you. Yes, you are allowed to buy that bike, but don't, because if you crash it, it's a disaster, and you are more likely to have a crash in your first. Actually, the most likely time is at the end, towards the end of your first year of riding, because initially you're a bit nervous and hesitant and stuff, and that keeps you safe. By the end of your first year, you're thinking, oh, yeah, I can do this. And suddenly you overcook it, and yeah, the confidence, you get a little overconfident and it goes horribly wrong. So don't get your dream bike first off. The other reason for not doing that is the cost of insurance. Now yes, bikes are cheap to buy, the machine comparatively. The insurance, on the other hand, is not. Especially if you're younger, especially if you don't have any other experience on other vehicles, etc., etc. The insurance is pretty punchy. So just hold off on buying your dream bike. It will still be there. Probably an even better version will be there in a couple of years' time. Give it some time. 3, when you first start, try and ride your bike a little bit like it's a car, because not because that's the best way to ride a bike, because it's not, but it'll get you used to how other drivers in cars treat you as a motorbike person. Okay? Because car drivers do not look at you because you're smaller than a car or a lorry. They ignore you, and so they treat you in a completely different way to other cars. So pretend you are a car. Don't filter straight away. Stay in traffic jams. Look at how badly car drivers use their indicators. Maybe they're sitting in a traffic jam. They see the middle lane is moving better than the right-hand lane. So they suddenly move over without any thought, any looking, etc. They know no one's coming past them because it's a traffic jam. But of course they haven't thought, oh yeah, a bike can come straight up the middle here. Ride your bike like it's a car at the start. Okay, it's not the best way to ride a bike because it's a bike, not a car, and you should ride it in a slightly different way. But just at the very start, just ride it like you're driving. Okay, don't try and do anything fancy just because you're on a bike and you can skip through traffic or whatever it might be. At number 4 is the safety equipment: helmets, leather jackets, armored trousers, armored boots, all the rest of it. Please fork out, spend the money on decent safety kit, because it's designed to help you if you have a nasty moment. You can buy a helmet for 80 quid. Don't do it. Really, don't do it. There is a reason it is 80 quid. It's rubbish. They are made from less sophisticated stuff. If you want to see what helmets are made of and stuff, look up a YouTube channel called Fort9. He's a Canadian dude, and he does really good motorbike videos on all sorts of stuff. He is an excellent guy to watch things on, and he will show you about how, you know, the different shells of helmets and stuff have, and the different fillings and stuff. So spend money on a renowned make, and there are lots of renowned makes, whether, you know, Bell, HJC or whatever it's called, even Shark, okay, Shoei, but spend a few £100. I'd suggest 300 more or more on a helmet. You don't have to buy the most expensive, but just don't buy the cheapest because you think, oh, it's something I have to have legally, but I'm just going to do it on the cheap. Don't do it on the cheap. It's safety gear. Spend money on it. Like your jacket. Or maybe you're getting an all-in-one leather thingamajig. But if you're getting a jacket, get a jacket with back armour as well as the shoulders and elbows. That would be tip number, what was it? Tip number 4. Yeah, don't skimp on safety gear. Spend money on decent quality and renowned names. Oh yeah, number 5. You're not gonna like this one. You really aren't. Don't ride with your mates or carry a pillion, that's the person that sits behind you, for the first year. The carrying the pillion thing, that affects your insurance, and it's better if you'll get cheaper insurance if you don't tick the option that says you're going to take a pillion. But the main reason for not taking a pillion and not riding with your mates in a group is that the desire to show off will be lessened. Motorbikes are partly designed to show off. That's how they attract customers. They're flashy, they're noisy, they draw attention, and that's fine as long as you're aware of what you're doing. If you suddenly go from never having ridden a bike to riding around with your mates and trying to pop a wheelie or do a burnout or whatever it is, and you haven't even really got sorted with your clutch control, let alone anything else, you're just asking for trouble. So first year, don't ride with your mates, certainly not in a showy off way, and don't take a pillion, because it changes how the bike feels. So much more weight is suddenly behind you. It's a completely different experience. So yeah, those are my 5 top tips. But there is a bonus tip. Bonus tip number 6. I can't remember. Oh yes, I can. I have got a little note down here between my number 6 is watch, and this is slightly self-serving, but watch YouTube videos of people riding bikes or talking about bikes or showing crashes, because you will learn so much from seeing the mistakes that other people make. So watch the crashes. It'll, one thing, it shows you what can happen, and what can happen is pretty nasty, but it also shows you how that problem did happen. Watch videos, learn from other people's mistakes, learn from other people's experience, as well as regular riding yourself. And that's it. That's top tips for beginner motorcyclists. Thank you very much for the suggestion, Mr. Caledonia Keys. That he's just started a YouTube channel. He's been one of my subscribers for quite a while, and he sent me a very nice message the other day, and I said that I was going to steal his ideas. So yeah, Mr. Caledonia Keys, congratulations on starting a channel, and good luck with it. Right, gentlemen and ladies, ride on, ride safe.